Colonel Layden, just from on the strikes, what are your impressions of these latest ones?
Well, Anderson, I think what we're seeing here is a continuation of what we saw yesterday. There does seem to be more of a variety of targets, but they seem to be the same type of targets, at least so far. So we're looking at naval installations that are being hit, potentially, as of course, the SAM, the surface-to-air missile employment areas, as well as some of the infrastructure that's military-related. And what we also see is, as you go down the coastline, you see everything, from Bushehr all the way down to Chabahar. Those areas are now at risk, and that is basically a movement, I think, on the part of the U.S. To go after almost anything that can strike or do anything of damage in the Strait of Hormuz area.
Alan, as you heard President Trump said that Iran has reached out asking to make a deal after the most recent strikes. Do you think that is true? And if the U.S. strategy is to strike Iran with greater and greater intensity until it capitulates, how successful, to what end do you see that?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's true. I think he made that up. I doubt the Iranian leaders reached out. There might have been some communication, but it wasn't the Iranians crying uncle. What started this was Iran's determination to maintain administrative control, effective operational control of the Strait of Hormuz. That's a new red line for them. The U.S. contested that. They were sending ships hugging the Omani coast. That's the basic dynamic here. And unfortunately, the military strikes we're doing seem somewhat of a strategic flail because they're not going to convince the IRGC leadership to cry uncle, nor are they going to sufficiently degrade Iran's ability to threaten and impede marine traffic through the strait. So, to be honest, Anderson, I don't know what we're doing, but I don't think it's going to end well.
Kariim, what lessons do you think the Iranians have learned from previous rounds of this conflict, and how do you see what's happening now?
Unfortunately, Anderson, I think the lesson that Iran learned from this war is that you gain concessions from the United States not through diplomatic accommodation, but by lashing out, by attacking your neighbors, by closing the Strait of Hormuz. And I think the new normal for the foreseeable future is Iran will be to the Middle East what Putin's Russia has been to Europe. It will seek security, its own security, in the insecurity of its neighbors, and conduct itself like a gangster regime.
Kariim, when you hear the president say that this group of leaders of Iran now are less radicalized, is that how you see it?
There's no evidence we can point to publicly that shows that this is a regime which has changed its ideology. If anything, Anderson, the takeaway the regime has learned both from this war and also the popular uprising which they survived last January is that revolutionary ideology is the glue that keeps them together. It's the glue that maintains the cohesion of the security forces. And it is true, Anderson, I've spoken to U.S. negotiators who say behind closed doors, the Iranians say something different. Vice President Vance said that as well, and perhaps that is the message that President Trump is receiving. But certainly publicly, we haven't seen any signs whatsoever that this is a different regime prepared to chart a different course in its relationship with the United States.
Alan, to you, what is the takeaway from your experience negotiating and working on the deal with Iran?
Well, again, I still contend we haven't tried diplomacy in a serious or sustained manner. In the beginning, we were waiting for Iran to capitulate. Then once the war started, we still thought that our superior military dominance would translate into strategic success. That didn't happen. I think, unfortunately, at this point, it's too late for diplomacy. Even the best diplomats, I don't think, could eke a win out of this. But it is a shame because at some point before the bombs started falling, there was a real chance if we had been more persistent, consistent, stop, all these social truth media postings and inconsistent red lines. But we lost that opportunity. So now we're stuck where we are, which is this MC Escher doom loop of military attacks, de-escalation, more military attacks.
And Kariim, just in terms of U.S. options, what are they really moving forward? I mean, if you're not having full-scale conflict against Iran to try to destroy the regime, how much can be accomplished?
As Alan alluded to, Anderson, there are no silver bullets here. There are no quick fixes. President Trump first sought a quick fix, thinking American bombs can change Iran's politics. That didn't work. Then it was an attempt with American incentives, American bribes to try to change Iranian politics. That hasn't worked. What we know over the last 47 years is that this regime has only agreed to meaningful compromise on perhaps 2 or 3 occasions. And that is when it feels existential pressure, coupled with kind of a face-saving diplomatic exit. And at the moment, I don't think they feel existential pressure, nor is there a face-saving diplomatic exit. That's usually a process of many months of diplomacy.